Bam! I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to make up the date just like our government does. You know, they change the time twice a year and you don't care. Well, it's your country, it's your world. Maybe you should. Anyway, we're going to call it January 27th. It's a Monday, 2025. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. As we continue on down the lunacy of things, we do know that Pete Hegseth has been nominated. We do know that Cindy, what is it? Not Cindy. Well, Nome, that chick, Christy Nome. Yeah. Thank you you're not even on stage yet. Shh, in the back of the green room. Christy Nome, she got sworn in today, or is it yesterday? There's been a lot of things moving along, but I will point out something for you guys today. Do you guys know that all the Republican congressmen and women, or your congressman, or however you want to use that word, what are we allowed to use now? We just say Congress, or theys, or thems, or what do we? Anyway, all right. They all went down to Mar-a-Lago. I mean, Trump Durrell, which I've been to Trump Durrell a couple times, and it's a pretty neat little hotel. But all of the Republicans are in Florida, next to the Florida White House. So Johnson was giving press conferences from there today, talking about different things from birthright citizenship to other things. But I just thought it'd be a quinkadink that you guys all just kind of notice that we are moving things out of D.C. We're seeing things completely fall down on the whole let's keep D.C. alive idea. Even though that I was there a week or so ago, it was awesome to be a part of those things. But it does see that Trump is on a train here. The Trump train, I've heard that before. It's weird. Is really moving down the tracks here, getting things done, and making a lot of people worrisome because of all the children that have been rounded up out of all the elementary. Wait, is that not happening? We're not doing that. We're not rounding up the kids. We're doing the bad guys. We're doing bad guys. All right. Sorry to report to you what CNN was saying, that we're not rounding up all the kids. We're only rounding up. Yeah, that's a whole thing. And by the way, the one where they said that there was a kid that was rounded up or was being asked questions of, it was actually Secret Service was trying to find somebody, and they needed to locate one of the children so that they could then find the family, and it had nothing to do with immigration or anything else. It was actually a security issue. But the Democrats ran in there and said, look, they're trying to get rid of brown children. And that wasn't even the point at all. It was actually just somebody trying to actually find somebody. Wow, and yet they still try to spin that around. But anyway, that's all right. A lot of things happening. Colombia flip-flopped. We'll no longer take your people you bring back to... And then, I don't know if that's the right accent or not, but it's obviously not. Anyway, he said, don't you bring those people that were here back here because we don't want them. They're Americans. And then all of a sudden, Trump's like, bet. And then the guy's like, hey, can you bring those people to me real quick? I'll send the president's plane down. Trump's like, all right, cool. High five, bro. And so that's a thing. So this is all part of but we're still hearing the hysteria of the dictator-in-chief. I have yet to see Hillary Clinton do a perp walk. I've yet to hear about Nancy Pelosi's federal charges for insider trading that happened just the night before the inauguration. So I'm waiting on to hear a few of those things from Nancy. So we'll see how all that comes from her. But anyway, I will now get to my special guest, and she's actually going to be a special co-host guest. This is Noelle. Noelle, hi. Say hi, Noelle. Hi, Noelle. Hi, Noelle. She said that's her saying hi. I don't know if that's her saying hi or not.
Hi, Noelle.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, there's. Hi, Noelle.
I am.
I'm supposed to announce that her name is no longer Noelle. She had it physically changed at the Maricopa County Vital Records and Statistics, and her name is now Patriot Mom 007. So she's no longer a person; she's an entity. So anyway, hey Noelle, how are you? I'll turn and look at you.
I'm great, Jim. How are you?
You're not even sitting next to me here. You're like way over there in Arizona. Hey, tell me a little bit about this guest that you seem to know a little bit about her. Who's the guest we have coming on today?
So Sheri Lopez, she is a friend of mine here in Arizona. We actually do a couple things together. I'm the co-chair for the Phoenix chapter of Independent Women's Network, and they help craft legislation out of DC, actually. Mm-hmm. And she is a partner in that organization here in Arizona. But also Sheri has Pearl at the Mailbox, and she is intricately involved in trafficking resources, education for survivors of sex trafficking. She was a victim and a survivor herself. many years ago.
Hmm.
And so we work together on things here and are friends. And it is Sex Trafficking Awareness Month in January. So it's a great day to have her on. I think there's some things happening, of course, with, the world, our nation, Tom Holman, the kids that got, lost by the Biden administration, the 300,000 plus. So it's a good day to delve into that before the month of awareness ends.
Let
So
me
she'll join us.
let me pick up something on that 300,000. I don't think and I've mentioned this on the show quite a bit, that the 300,000, that's just what the feds lost from the border. That's not the 500,000 kids that go missing in child protective services and the other 500,000 kids every year that go missing in the general population. This is an additional on top of the million kids every year we lose in America. By the way, it's a million kids lost in America with no finding them. There's no milk carton things or whatever. That's a whole nother talk. But yeah, this is on top of what we already lose. So this 300 some odd thousand, we registered them as coming into America with a sponsor, and yet we can't find these kids anymore. And that is actually, we ought to be terrified more about the 500,000 plus 500,000 that miss every year, but we're going to be upset about these first. So we'll go that direction.
I
Okay.
think to just be fair, I think some of these 300,000, Jim, I think they are some of the DES and DCSS kids.
Oh, right.
I think that's a combination. I think a lot of them do come out of that system and had been, I mean, they have trafficked in so many different organizations now.
Right.
I think it's just one big conglomerate, honestly, of sex trafficking going on with the agencies in America.
Right. Well, let's do this. I'm not trafficking human beings. Noelle's not having trafficking human beings. So we're starting with the two of us first. Now, at this point, I don't know which agency isn't trafficking human beings. I mean, we go all the way back to Mother Teresa. We can go back to the Vatican. We could go back to, I mean, it just over and over and over again. We're seeing that human trafficking is part of all these NGOs practices. You know, again, who's not trafficking kids? I think the list would be shorter at this point, don't you think?
I think so. And it's to the point where everybody knows about it, and yet nobody has been doing anything about it for certainly the 4 years that we know it's been pretty prevalent with the Biden administration.
Hmm.
And now that Trump has taken over again, thank God, I think they'll be putting the clamps down a little bit as best as possible. I mean, certainly getting criminals out of America as quickly as possible will be a good start to that. Because, I mean, gosh, it seems like the majority are pedophiles or some sort of sexual deviance more than anything else. So that'll help. But these agencies, as he's rooting through all the other agencies, I think he's going to have to take the rotor-rooter through these as well and
Hmm.
really clean house, because the criminal activity happening just between the lack of reporting, let alone the complicit behaviors of some of these supervisors and people that know that it's going on. I mean, there's got to be criminal, prosecution should be handed out for so many people at this point, and hopefully we'll see that.
Well, and let's say it's not so much that they did it, but they knew about it. See, it's the complicit part that really bothers me. There's a lot of people that I see turning the blind eye, or, oh, I didn't know, oh, I plausible deniability. The sad part of that is that, again, these are human beings, and why is it that supposedly our society as a whole has stopped slavery? I'm using quotations and a wink, wink here. Yet we seem to have more slavery now than we've ever had in recorded history. Why are we getting worse with slavery, but yet civil rights and we don't do slavery, and yet we're doing a lot of it now? What am I missing the point of what we had, the whole no slavery thing? I thought we did that, like a
I
whole
don't
act.
know. I think they're missing the point. I think that they're so used to getting what they want, and what they want is to be able to control all these children, these women, that they are overlooking the fact that we have more slavery these days in 2025 across the world, between the little kids in the factories abroad and the sex trafficking and the labor slavery here too in America. I mean, these kids aren't just sex trafficked. They're also put to work. Here in Arizona, there's a lot of little carts on our street selling fruit, pineapples, and people have to realize that these are not startups. These are not small business startups where these people have come over from wherever, Guatemala, Mexico, wherever they're
Mm.
coming from across our border. And then they're like, oh, let's get a food cart and we're going to stand on the streets of Arizona in the summer in 120 and we're going to peddle our mangoes and our coconut water. I mean, let's be realistic, people. These people are forced to do this. Nobody wants to Nobody
Yeah.
wants to do that,
Yeah.
and certainly in Arizona or the country. And so that is the first thing, is recognizing that these are not like local, like small business people who just bought a cart.
Right.
These are cartels
Yeah.
owning these
Where'd they buy the
businesses.
stock all of a sudden that they have all this
Yeah,
mangoes or all these flowers or all these Baja shrimp or all these?
it's the craziest thing
Yeah.
out here. You don't probably don't have it there, do you? I
No,
doubt
no,
you.
no, no. We don't do that here. We shoot you. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
Covert trafficking.
and let me. Hey, did you see the whole thing about the tunnels and the escape rooms or different vault rooms and children's stuff in LA? That in the debris that the government doesn't want them touching is lots of childlike, formulas and bottles and shoes and clothes and tunnels. So this scorched earth area just happened to be exactly where there was a lot of tunnels.
I didn't see that
Well,
with
the
all of
U.S.
this.
Marshal Chris that I talked to this morning, he said, "Look at it." So I was like, "Oh," and I did, and I'm like, "Oh, wait, there's a lot of these little boxes and like little areas and debris and like there was houses were connected." So I did look at
Well,
those.
I mean, I think we know from watching what's happening with the whole Diddy situation, all these tunnels, and even the tunnel they found, I don't know, Tuesday, second or third day of his administration, they found that tunnel here in, it was it Yuma or somewhere down here in my southern area
Right.
of coming up from Mexico. So I don't know why we're just not blowing those up. Literally,
Yeah.
like just throw a bomb down there. I feel like it would solve the problem fairly quickly, at least
Well,
shut them down for a while.
what if you just did like nerve gas? If we took, let's say we took fluoride gas. Remember, fluoride's good for you. So why don't we take a whole bunch of fluoride
I'll check
gas,
on my
which
teeth.
which they used in World War I and World War II? Why don't we take that fluoride gas to clean their teeth for them and shove it down them holes? And oh wait, that would kill the kids too. So that's a bad idea. All right. Well, why would we think that there are kids out in that area? Hmm, that's a new thing.
Well, I don't know, because the kids are everywhere. That's why, because they've got them
Ah,
hidden.
there you
Yeah.
go.
We should just assume that there's always kids involved and being hidden at any given point by anybody that comes up on the radar. That's
Well,
just a fact.
I'm still, and this is one that makes me very unpopular in this moment, but I still say that women need to be looked at severely in the trafficking world because we always like to look at the man, but how did the child get into it? Where is the mother? Why isn't there police reports? Why isn't there this? Well, oh, they control them this, they control them that. Here's the thing, if you really wanted it, no matter what it was going to cost you to save your child, you're going to make that police report. You're going to make that happen. So
That's right.
again, the problem is I'm going back to my own experiences with it. But, all right, we do have Sheri. She's in the waiting room. Do you want to bring her in, or do you want to make her wait? Are you mean? You want
Well,
to make
you
her
can
wait?
bring her in. Can I bring her in? I don't know. Can I bring her in?
No, you can't. I have to do it, but I
Oh,
appreciate the
darn it.
idea. I
I don't have
appreciate
ultimate
you
control.
want. Yeah, I get it. No, no, you don't get all the.
Yeah, give me ultimate control. Give me all the buttons.
No, we're not doing that. All
We're
right.
not. We're not.
No.
Darn
All
it.
right. There we
Hey,
go.
Sherry.
Now we got. Okay, we're doing the three square. Let's put Jim Price just up there for a second while we figure this all out.
All
And
right.
screen capture and Zoom meeting. Hey, look at there, Zoom meeting. Hi, everybody. Sheri, there she is. She's coming.
Hi.
Hi, Sheri. You are live right now, so put your shirt back on or whatever you were doing there. So don't get too comfortable. So, all right, there she is. All right, now she's live, so everybody can see her, and now we're all on a three square. Oh, I'm still off to the side. I'll fix that. Don't worry about it. I got it, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, so who's going to introduce her? You going to introduce yourself, Sheri, or we're
No,
going to let Noelle do it?
well, I gave you a soft introduction before you came on, but you know what? You do so much out here. I always think it's best if you get to introduce yourself, because I certainly don't want to leave any awesome things out about you. And there's so many.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, my name is Sheri Lopez. I am the founder of Pearl at the Mailbox, named in honor of this amazing, brave woman who rescued me from my 7-year journey of being sex trafficked at an apartment mailbox. And so, in honor of her bravery, my nonprofit is called Pearl at the Mailbox.
Very good.
And I was telling Jim this month happens to be National Sex Trafficking Awareness Month here, and I know we've had a lot of things happening in Arizona. I was at the inauguration, as was Jim last week, so I know I missed a big event, I think last Saturday, that you spoke at, I
Yes.
believe. Yeah, tell us about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, Saturday was just one of many. January is very filled with awareness education, which I am so grateful for. But that event brought together a bunch of frontline, boots on the ground fighters that are here to educate about grooming and trying to prevent trafficking, and then also the resources for after an individual is trafficked. Now, my focus is mainly the minors, the girls, because I was groomed at the age of 15 over a 3-month period by my high school boyfriend's father. And for 3 of those years, I lived at home and my parents had no idea what was happening to me, none at all. And so I try to educate parents about how that can even happen under your own roof, but it can. And then from the age of 18 until I was close to 22, I was sold to 3 other traffickers and then eventually just trafficked all across the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, the heartbreaking. And you came out of it so amazing and strong and better for it and helping so many others now. I mean, we're really fortunate in Arizona to have you here because I know that the work you're doing is just invaluable for what's happening, certainly at our border. And we were just talking also, Jim and I, about the kids who've gone missing over the last 4 years under the Biden administration, the 300,000 plus, if that's a real number, who knows, but that they found maybe some of them. But can you talk to us about, I mean, I don't know if you work at all in the DCS stuff out here. I know Daniel Wood was involved in that a little bit and some other people, but can you speak to maybe some of the agency issues that we have, certainly in Arizona and around the country?
I
What they're
can't
doing?
actually. It was funny because way back when this happened to me, I went to one of my teachers and they had no idea what I was talking about. So, one, our schools are not educated. They don't know the signs to look for, and they won't allow good programs in there. Um, I volunteered as a CASA, a court appointed special advocate, for 10 plus years here in Maricopa County to get a clear understanding of what was happening there as far as trafficked youth, because there's no doubt that kids are being trafficked through that system. And what I noticed is that there's very little family reunification. So much of it is focused on adopting or severance of parental rights. In those 10 plus years, I worked with one family that was reunited with their children. Now, I can't speak to all of the things that I saw, but they are definitely not educated in the area of human trafficking to the extent where they could jump in and spot it. Now, law enforcement, they do a really good job, but their resources are so limited. And when you've got these units that are focused on trying to get kids out of being trafficked, they're often the units that get cut right off the top if there's a budget cut. And
Right. And what is
so,
it that people can look for? I mean, even in schools or at home, and there's different facets to that, depending on what side you're observing from. And what are some of those things? Because I know we talk about signs, but we don't always identify them for people specifically.
right, what I always share is there is not a checklist. Oh, if your child is acting this way, check, okay, they must be groomed. Check this is this. What I always say is your child's behavior different than normal. So many of the things that are talked about is like, well, your child will become withdrawn. They will spend more time away from the family. I was already that way. I was a very isolated child by choice. So that didn't, what I did is I actually sought out my parents' attention. So I always say, watch your child's behavior. They can hide a lot of things from you. So some say, okay, it's the way your child dresses. Well, I always dressed appropriately in front of my parents. I changed my clothes somewhere else. I was not disrespectful to my parents. And we have lost the ability to listen and trust our intuition, especially women. I believe we have been given this gift to really be able to hone in that the people around us, especially children, if there is something not right, you sense it, but you choose to ignore it. That's what I've just noticed over time. People are just choosing not to get involved. But behavior changes that are odd for the child, and you have that sense that something's not right. Those are the first ways to open up a conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the schools, I mean, they have a pretty significant role, I would think, in really helping to identify some of this. Do you find them to be a help these days? Because we have a lot of education problems in general. Are they still actively engaging in see something, say something for the kids that this is happening to?
Well, to get a program into the schools that solely focuses on grooming, which per the last legislative session here in Arizona, that term is not considered a legal term in Arizona. It's now called child enticement, which I disagree with, but it is as it is. But so now there's no education for child enticement. They will add a little bit of this into like their sex education. Myself and a couple of other individuals are working to bring Aaron's Law to Arizona with the addition of child enticement training included. So this would mandate the schools, public and charter, to teach about signs of abuse, signs of sexual abuse, signs of somebody trying to groom them for exploitation. So if we can get this law passed, then the schools have no choice but to educate the children. We're asking for 1 hour every year, and teachers go through the training as well, and any new teachers that come in. So because if we don't teach the demographic that these predators are after to spot danger, how are they going to spot it? We are doing
Right.
such a disservice to our teens.
Agreed. We need to really be more diligent and really be paying attention, because it's just happening every single day. Like Jim and I were also talking about this right under our noses everywhere you look. I mean, we were just in DC, right? And so I was part of the time running around on my own, and the Uber situation alone in a highly trafficked area, trafficked being attendees, is ripe for traffickers and sex trafficking, actually, at the World Series, at the games, at the Open here in Arizona, at an inauguration. And there were a couple Ubers that I had to send away. Well, one guy, which I still have it on my phone, and I need to send it to Uber, said he was from Antarctica, like his place of origin was Antarctica. Now, Jim, I think you said that to me. Was it you said, wait, nobody's from Antarctica? And then I canceled that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's
I
one of the ones that we
hadn't
were.
thought about.
Yeah, that seems odd. Anytime here's the thing, guys. One of the things that this is okay. Let me line something up with you on that, Noel. Is that people have been woke, right? We've been told not to question. Well, don't ask, don't do this, don't do that. Well, if someone says I'm from Antarctica, we're so tuned into or been programmed to not ask because we don't dare question someone's identity or where they're from or what they're doing, that we've actually just started forgetting about fright and flight. Fright and flight is a part of our DNA, our instinctual behavior. And the situation where something goes, that doesn't seem right, then stop. Quit moving into it. Quit trying to go for it and try to make it rational it out. Just like, hey, dude, how can you be from Antarctica? It's not a country. It can't, I mean, you want me to get in a car with a dude from Antarctica? I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's like, we have to do certain things like that, and we have to pay attention not just to just some signs, but honestly, parent your children. If you don't notice that your child has had a mood change, or their sleeping habits change, or their clothes have changed, or their bathroom times have changed, you're not paying attention. I mean, this is basic 101 of parenting. You know when your kids' foods change. You know when their sleeping habits change. You know when they're wearing something different than they usually do. They're not wanting to wear their favorite shirt. They're not wanting to go do the usual things. So these are all things. It's like you ask questions, and sometimes you sound stupid. Why do you not wear your favorite shirt anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got a hole in it. I don't want to wear it, Dad. Oh, well, shit, I didn't know. Okay, cool.
Right.
You know, I mean, there may have been a greater conversation behind there, but there's a hole in it, all right? But I didn't know that until I had the conversation. So a lot of what we're talking about is effort and talking. Well, we all could do that. So I don't understand why we can't figure this out. And the idea that there's even trafficking at all on this earth with technology and all the shit we supposedly got worked out with all the space age whatevers, we still have human trafficking in tunnels in our country? Come on, guys.
Because it's a moneymaker.
Yeah.
Well, it's a moneymaker, and those who are in power are some of the sickest of our society, and they're the ones running the show for so many years and helping build those tunnels and protect those tunnels. Yeah, it's frightening.
And deny that those tunnels exist.
Now, let me do something for you guys real quick, and I'll go on every show you want to book me on, and I'll tell you this. This was my career, and very many people pick this up, and I want you guys, everybody listen for a second. I spent almost 18 years of my life, an adult male, raising my children, having security background checks, above top secret stuff, really big stuff. I've seen the nuclear installations inside of a B-2 bomber. I've been there, done that. When I was asking the Pentagon, why are we putting in ground penetrating radar into our command centers? Now, listen to what I just said there. When I asked the Pentagon, why am I putting ground penetrating radar in these command centers? The answer was given to me because we tunnel under other countries. We know other countries tunnel under ours. That was in 2006, the first time I had that conversation. And we are now in 2025. So in 2006, I was told that we have ground penetrating radar that goes into the ground because we want to know what's under us, who's tunneling under our bases. That's in America. This was middle America when this question was asked. So I'm just letting you guys know, when we talk about governments and officials and high-end people, it sounds very far away landish stuff. Like this is where castles and knights and things of that nature. But this is real in America. This happens now. And I was doing it in 2006 against foreign enemies when in reality it was probably us all along. Anyway. Right. I just want to throw it out there.
No, because some of the things that I wish I could share, but I can't share for my own safety, is some of the things that I experienced and I was forced to be a part of. Mm-hmm. That happens here in this country, and it's alarming, and it would be hard to grasp. People can't grasp what selling another human being is for money. I mean, people think that's gone, which it's not gone. It's very profitable. And going back to the parents need to be parents, not their friend. But society has taught parents to be the child's friend when the parent is supposed to be the one that parents, tell them, no, you can't go. But one big thing for me too, and that I encourage parents to do, is always check up on where the child says that they are. Because one of the ways that I was forced into actually being able to attend these parties for an entire weekend was by telling my parents that I was going to a friend's house that my parents knew, and they knew her parents, so they had no reason to doubt that's where I was at. Mm-hmm. Now, had my parents checked up on me or just said, hey, I'm going to go and call so-and-so's mom and just say, hi, I just wanted to check in, see how things are going with Sheri, then you're going to find out very quickly that maybe your child's not where they say they are. They can leave the phone anywhere. Your child will get mad, but you're to be the parent. Mm-hmm. Your job as a parent is to keep your kids safe. Yeah. And so parents need to parent.
So what do you got going on right now? Have you got events coming up or things that we can be a part of that, is there some, like a place we can go and meet and talk, or can we go to the border? What can we do to be a part of the solution? Right. We see the problem. Now what do we got to do to fix this?
Well, you need to get educated, first of all, on what grooming is and how the mental manipulation of a groomer changes the allegiance of the child from their support system to the trafficker.
Mm-hmm.
Education is key. At Pearl at the Mailbox, we just launched our living room conversations where people can invite me into their homes in a comfortable environment where we can have dialogue. Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly how this happened to me, and I will answer your questions. And people are always surprised, like, wow, I never thought about looking for this, or I would never have thought about looking for that.
Right.
So we have to have these really uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
Anything with the word sex in it, people want to, they want to run to the hills.
But yeah,
we
but every song can have the word sex and butthole and vagina and all these. All these songs the kids can listen to have all the worst of the worst, supposedly whatever our sin list, words that we're not supposed to say. But yet when we go to talk to our kids, we're all like a bunch of little girls. Hey, I don't want to. I'm just gonna say butt. Like we got to get past that, right? We got to grow up because we're the adults. Debbie Muniz, she actually had a great comment. She said that parents overcompensate because they're tired after work. Times were so much better when moms were at home. And I believe that is the best way to destroy a family or be able to traffic a child is, you start making that separation. Mom's a little busy, dad's a little busy. Now the kid's out there on their own and they're making their own ways. Now it's the sad part of it is I think technology aids this, right? Because this is these chat rooms. That's these abilities to go into Facebook or Instagram or wherever your kids are hanging out at, and they go in there and they become predators that way. But also, I mean, the fact that there are times when you're just not managing your kids because you are so busy chasing down the debt that is created by the slave system we have.
Oh, I agree.
Go ahead, Sheri.
I was going to say that technology has made the role of a groomer and a trafficker so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They don't have to put in as much effort.
It's hard. It's easy to hide things. I mean, we all were kids, so we were all sneaking around at some point, I suppose. But now it's like so many apps that hide things even on their phone that they can. I mean, I used to look through my kids' phones pretty much every night. So I was able to catch a lot of stuff. But, this whole Roblox thing that you hear about, these secret rooms, the chats that nobody knows is happening. Even in Arizona, Sheri, that they had that pass in our schools. I forget the gal who did it a couple of years ago, where the kids could access it on their school computers. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, this kids could access inappropriate websites from their school computers, even though they're supposed to be locked down in chat rooms, private chat rooms. That was happening here. So these things just have to stop.
When my son's 28, so he's my youngest. When he was in high school, they all had MacBook laptops in the school. And so from junior high through high school, Rose Hills had laptops like since the dawn of time. It's really weird. That little country school has always been big on school laptops, but the kids all knew exactly how to get to wherever they had to get through for whatever back door to go chat with their friends or go to Facebook and still be able to access social media platforms, even though the school had blocked them all out. They were still able to backdoor them, and they knew all it. So again, it's I don't think you can stop kids from being curious, but you definitely can educate them about what can happen, right? I mean, if you guys, this stove is hot. Put your the seat's hot. I mean, I don't know. I don't want kids getting hurt, but at the same time, having the conversation is really better than nothing at all.
And people aren't having the conversation. That's the thing. For generations, it's always been stranger danger. Let's talk about the people that are in front of us. Okay, so we can spot somebody that way. What about the online danger? And predators have been known to break through the firewalls of these public school system computers. I think they need to be out. Studies show that a child or a young adult isn't even mentally capable of handling this technology until they're around 25.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And tell us, I want you to just touch real quick too, on Pearl. Like you and I talked about it before, and I just want you to talk about it because it's how you ultimately were saved. And maybe if somebody's listening or knows somebody, they will take the same opportunity by your story, right? And adopt it and say, oh, this is possible. So go ahead and tell us about that a little bit.
Oh my goodness. Pearl was what I would call a nosy neighbor. And I encourage people, please pay attention to what's going on around you, the cars that belong to the homes in your neighborhood or your apartment complex, the people, because she was observant. And the last place that I was being held at, she would, she was kind of diagonal from where the apartment that I was being held in, not just me, but with others. And she, made it a point of meeting me at the mailbox. Now, I had earned that privilege from that trafficker of getting the mailbox unaccompanied. Just think about that the next time you go get your mail. I earned that privilege. So I went to the mailbox and she would make a point of being there. And she'd always say the same thing, honey, I know something's wrong. When you're ready to go, I'll take you. And a little bit over time, I paid more attention to her. And I'd had a bad beating one day and I did finally walk away with her. So I don't tell people to be a pearl to go in and actively try and rescue a child that's being trafficked, but it is to pay attention to what's going on around you because you never know what is going on around you. So if you see something odd, it's better to call the police, or if you're out in the public, find a security guard and say, hey, I'm a little uncomfortable with this situation. Can you go check it out? It's better to be wrong than it is to go home and you see the picture of that child that's now missing on the TV.
Right.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Better be safe than sorry, ultimately, is the end result of that. And we're grateful that she helped you and that you made it here. For people to find you, pearlatthemailbox.org. They can find you there. I know you're on Facebook also as Pearl at the Mailbox. What about are you anywhere else too, Sheri?
Instagram and Twitter, it's all Pearl at the Mailbox.
Perfect. Perfect. And how can people otherwise get involved, or some other organizations or agencies that you can recommend for them to call, hotlines or helplines, that if they fear something or know something, or maybe they're involved in something, they need the help, where can people find other resources?
Yeah, let me pull up the Arizona. Now you have the National Human Trafficking Hotline, but we have one right here in Arizona, which is even better because then you get help almost immediately. And it is 877-429-8477. And that is the Arizona Human Trafficking Hotline that is run by ASU. So if there's something that's happening here in Arizona.
Repeat that again. I'm going to put it here in the chat. 877?
Yeah, absolutely. It is 877 429 8477.
8477. I'm sorry, I let a little Kansas spill out there. I apologize. We're all we're all a bunch of hillbillies up here. 877-429-8477. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, and so do you have any events or anything coming up that you're going to be doing, or things that you think people should focus on that here in the near future there in Arizona or in the Southwest?
Well, we do. We have our living room conversations. We are raising funds now for Pearl's House, which we hope to open in December. And what's missing here in Arizona and in a lot of states is there isn't a home dedicated to just teen girls that are rescued from sex trafficking. They end up in mental health facilities, and it just magnifies their trauma. So Pearl's House would be designed for just teen girls rescued from trafficking. So we're working on that now, and we have our virtual walk still going on in January, where people can just sign up and do a walk on their own and just reflect on how maybe they could make a difference in this fight. We just did our bowling tournament yesterday, which was a lot of fun. And in February, we're going to be doing again, we do a lot of virtual stuff so people can participate, but it's our Valentine's photo scavenger hunt. So it's actually a great time for family and friends to do something fun and get out and support us and have a good time as well. So they can check all that out on our website.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. Well, and the thing is it's not always about, like, every weird kid is not got something going on, but we do need to be observational, and we do need to ask questions. I think this goes back to the greater lesson. What was it, 4 years ago, around this time of the year, we were all being told that there was a big fart in the wind called the coronavirus, the Mexican beer flu, that was going to kill us all, and we had to stay away and don't talk to each other and don't come near each other, and that's when things really got out of hand. in the world that we know today, especially with trafficking. So the whole point of it was is stay away from each other. Don't talk. Don't communicate. Don't do those things. Guys, that's everything from your God telling you if two or more together, I am there with you. That's talking about how we are this physicists talk about how our energies combine when we become 3 feet or closer. Everything in our world tells us to stay as close as possible to each other and communicate as much as possible, because that could end all of this if we just did those two things. But our society keeps telling us what? Stay away. Don't come near each other. Don't do that. Well, that person's weird. They don't, they're not you. They're not. We're weird. So now it's gone to the don't ask, don't tell, don't. I mean, we're misusing all the wrong things here. When reality, coming together in communication actually makes it all work better.
We've lost that.
Yeah, we've lost it. And here's the thing. I actually was. Let me work with me, guys, here for a second. I'm actually thinking about the 15-minute cities thing as being a great idea. Silence.
Really?
Love it. Love it. Love the silence. Nobody's like, I wish somebody's like, well, you're stupid, Jim. And I would be like, yeah, I bet I'm stupid. So the reason I said that is if we were actually in 15-minute cities, right? So we had this like 15 square miles or 20 square miles, and that was just our little city. Or let's say it's only 10 square miles. That little 15-minute city where we're able to walk across it in 15 minutes, the point of it would be is you would know everybody there, would you not? And you would know anybody who shouldn't be there, would you not? So it would create more of the community effect of having the town square where everybody hangs out when the sun's going down, eating an ice cream, watching the flagpole, watching the flag come descending down because it's sunset. Wouldn't that create really a better way, instead of these huge conglomerate cities that become overridden and very hard on the psyche of an individual? What if the thing that Trump has been talking about, these smaller Trump cities, what if that actually creates a better environment because we are closer and smaller and less things happen like that? Would that be better? I mean, can you see why I'm saying that? The 15-minute city, I'm not saying cages of 15-minute cities, but the small communities of it, that we really make it a tight community within that little group.
Like back in the day, we knew all our neighbors up and down our cul-de-sacs and all the bus route, basically, for 12 years that we went to school. We knew all of our neighbors everywhere. That would be great if people did that. But you know what happens is people have their garages and they just come home and then they just go in their garage and then they leave their garage and nobody ever walks outside.
So now we got to go back to carports and no attached garages. It was like you got to park your car outside like the rest of the heathens, and you got to walk inside and happen to see your neighbor and you got to wave, right? So,
the bad thing is, even in these small towns, kids are trafficked all the time. It still goes back to the fact that people don't want to get involved. They would rather just turn a blind eye and walk away and say, nope, not me. And if anybody goes into, let's say, these little town communities, you still have people being able to come in and out.
All right, that's me doing the, she asked me to, there she is. Noelle had to switch computers, but she was giving us she just switching around. She's like a woman. I want to move chairs. I want to move over there. I want to be over here now. No, I don't want to be next to you. I want to be down. Anyway, hey, Noelle. Hi, Noelle. Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Man, technology. I love technology, but it hates me.
Yep.
I struggle with it every second of every day, whether it's the phone or the computer.
Right.
It's just
Gap
like,
at the top. Gap at the top.
nemesis.
There you go. Gap at the top. There we go. There we go. Keep your head center. Chin in the center of the camera. All right. Now that we're not talking about kids anymore, hey, Noelle, is there some exciting stuff going on with some of the mom groups or some of that coalition stuff that we had with Sierra a while back? I mean, is this stuff are you guys cross?
You know what? Sierra and I really need to connect. We only connected really briefly after she was on your show. And Sheri, that's somebody I want to introduce you to. She's here in Arizona. She's got some big moms group going on out in Mesa. I heard about one day. She was on Jim's show, and I'm surprised I haven't met her. She was working with TPUSA during the election. She's super involved right now, and she's new to Arizona, I think just a couple of years here.
Yeah.
And so we'll want to connect with her. But let's see, Seek Smith, Mom Army. You could always look up momarmy.com. Is she.com or .org?
Hey, Edward asked, what is that number for? I want to put it in the description real quick. What's the number for? What was the number
for?
Yeah.
It's the Arizona Human Trafficking Hotline.
Okay, I'm going to put that in there. Hotline for Human trafficking. All right.
Just it's the Arizona specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of groups, Noel, that are doing amazing things. And we're now, Pearl to Mailbox, we're hitting our legislation session really, really hard. We're working on several bills and we've got a lot lined up. So hopefully we'll get more things passed to protect our kids.
Well, wait. I mean, I'm gonna ask a dumb question here, a little devil's advocate. Why do we have to make things about laws about not screwing with kids? This seems kind of obvious.
Because they're the least protected.
There's so many people that screw with kids and think it's no big deal.
It's just like, I mean, that tells me that my government is complicit then. If my government is not pursuing this type of behavior, then it's complicit in that behavior. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes. And some of the laws are so unbelievably outdated that nobody has ever bothered to look at some of the laws that pertain to children and safety and predators and stuff. And going, so I always fight for the 15 to 17-year-olds because that's a very unprotected group of minors here in Arizona. So anybody that traffics or solicits or basically buys a minor for that age group, that's a class 6 felony.
Wow.
Which is usually pled down to a misdemeanor. And then the magic age of 18, all of a sudden you're now choosing to be a prostitute, even though you're still being trafficked. So if an 18-year-old who is being trafficked is arrested, she or he is the prostitution charges are worse than the John charges. A John gets I just call them the buyers, what they are. They get charged with just a misdemeanor, pay a fine, and go on their way. So one big thing we have going on right now is that updating the Arizona Sex Offender Registry, and anybody that is charged with a sexual crime against a minor, that they will, once they get out of prison, they will be on lifetime supervised parole.
Wow. Who's co-sponsoring that bill?
Matt Grass.
Oh, okay. Very good. I'll have to keep up with that on some.
Yeah, so we don't have a bill number yet. We're still working out some language, but that's the only way we're going to start sending messages. Just don't mess with the kids here in Arizona. You will pay a fine. And then eventually, hopefully, we can update the solicitor consequences.
Well, didn't they do the whole thing? I thought it was in Arizona where they did the whole thing where they were putting the Johns on the billboards. Weren't they doing that for a while back?
They were for a while,
Joe
but there's a lot.
did that. Yeah.
There's a lot of organizations that fight for the John's rights. They seem to have more rights than somebody like me that was trafficked. And now they just go to John school, which that's like going to a speeding. You get a speeding ticket, so they go to John school, telling them why they should not do
women on the street. Don't
crazy
strange women on the street.
Yes, we have a lot of work to do, but I encourage people to check out the azledge.gov site, and you can see a lot of these bills that myself and other survivors and others that are in this fight are working on to keep our kids safe. And I work on bills at the federal level too. I'm working on one with Senator Cruz right now, so we gotta hold these individuals, the perpetrators, accountable for what they're doing.
We sure do, Sheri. Thanks for being so involved. And you and I still have to get together on some of this stuff. So we're gonna look at some dates here. This will be the good way to connect, at least here, and then we'll push it forward to another time and day that we don't get to. But we want to keep up on what's happening in Arizona. Of course, I live here 25 years, so it's really important to me what's going on. My kids are grown. They're young adults like Jim's and most of our kids now. But still, young adult kids are getting trafficked too in America every single day. And they go to these parties and they go on trips and they go to these big events. And so just because they are over 18 does not mean they're less susceptible to the criminal elements that are stalking them literally everywhere.
Well, Sheri, I don't mean to bug you too much here. I got to get you out so we can do an outro on all this whole thing. So give us about a minute or so how we find your website. Best, what is your what passions you see coming up. So give us about a minute or so of what you think here to close you out.
Okay, so pearl@themailbox.org, all spelled out. We need to be open to education about what child grooming is, because that's where we have the chance to spot it and stop it before it leads to trafficking. I'm the 1% they say that actually was able to get out. And again, it took me 20 plus years to even grasp what happened to me. So our children's lives are important and they need to be protected. There's a lot of information on the website about grooming and trafficking, so please visit pearl@themailbox.org.
Absolutely. That was awesome. Thank you for that. Sheri, and thank you, Noelle, for jumping in there too. Sheri, thank you for everything you're doing out there. If you want to come back on the show, give us an update, something's happening, people need to get involved, or if you have legislation coming up that they need to start calling their congressman there in Arizona, or even at the federal level, please let us know about that so we can talk about here on the show.
Thank you.
All right, very good. All right, well, Sheri, we'll talk to you later. We're going to get you out of here, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, that is awesome that Sheri was a part of all that. And let me tune up what I'm doing here. Why are we next to each other? I don't understand that.
No.
I gotta love.
You're in ultimate control over there.
Am I? I don't think so. It looks like I'm not in control because I can't see
all the buttons all the time.
All right, let me do this. Let me get you.
In charge, Jim. Put me in charge.
Am I in charge? No, I'm not in charge.
You're more
The computer's in charge. I'm not in charge.
Oh, right. So it's the computer's fault.
Yeah. Well, now you're catching on to the Jim Price Show excuse of the week. What was it? It was the computer. Why are you 10 minutes late? Because the computer doesn't work. That is a real thing, though. I have actually, when I came back from D.C., my laptop, all the settings were changed on it to where I couldn't even get my video to play. Like in my OBS and all that stuff, that was all changed around, so I couldn't get to it. It was really weird. And anyway. All right. Well, Noelle, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Anything you want to close us out with before we get you out of here?
I don't know. I always like to tell everybody, like you do, just stay educated, find your resources wherever you live. I work with my legislative district as much as possible. It's all volunteer. So you just have to find the time that you can share in your community and your state and help it be a better place, really, for our kids and us when we get older. What are we going to do? If it's a mess, we're going to have to live with it. And we're not going to be able to have any control. You know me. Super control freak. So you got to get involved now before you lose your ability to affect where you live in your community and the people around you. So Patriot_mom007. That's me. You see it on the screen. That's exactly how you find me, with that underscore in there on everything except X is PMom007. But hopefully I'll be back with Jim soon. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, you jump on back on when you ever want to. I am I'm still have a show tomorrow. We got our guests lined up. I got a guest lined up for tomorrow. Do I have one for tomorrow?
Do. I think you said yes. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
I got one for Thursday. No, I only have Thursday. I don't have one for tomorrow. So it's just going to be me tomorrow unless you want to jump on. So you let me know. All right. See. Okay. We will. She said we will see. So that I think it's a mom answer. So I think that's what I just got there. We'll see. We'll see if you get something special from the grocery store or not, you little turd. All right. Thank you so much, Noelle, for being a part of the show. And I'm going to get you out of here, and I'm going to do the outro. All right? Okay. Thank you. We'll see you.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Well, that was Noelle. Thank you so much for having her. And I'm trying this out, having a co-host and doing a few things of that nature. So work with me as I transition guests in and out and doing that on my end. This is a new talent. Not a new talent, but a talent I haven't used a lot lately. And getting people in and out of the Zoom call. So thank you guys so much for being patient on all those things. It was great having you guys as a part of the show, and great comments today. It was good to see everybody out there. We had Edward, Missy. Missy was out there. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We obviously had Debbie Munez. Rebecca, my daughter, was out there. Julie was there. Who else? Rhonda was there. Good to see all you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Guys, this is your world, and make it your world. Make it what you want it to be. Don't let these people push you around. And the continuation of the idea that freedom and liberty is yours and it's guaranteed by your Constitution, it makes me wonder why you ever hesitate, why you ever think about not going out there and being brave and being bold. All right, guys, that's going to be about it for me. I do have a show tomorrow. I will be gone Wednesday, but I'll be back. I got a special guest on Thursday coming in. And so, yes, I will be here tomorrow. Off Wednesday, back Thursday, Friday. I will be in Dallas meeting with some people down there about silly no mushrooms and things like that. So it should be a great event, or great meetings down there in Dallas for that. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. Good stuff. So, all right, guys, remember the 10% we do for our neighbor, community, city, county, state, the federal government. The more you do for them, the less they have to do for you. Learn how to be selfless and not so damn selfish. The world will be a far, far better place. Remember, hold the line, hold fast, do not give up, do not give in. We will win. I promise I'll make promises I can't keep, guys. You've always been the answer. Remember, the Constitution limits the government, but never limits you. And I told you guys we would win, and we did win that election, and we'll continue to win as long as you keep putting your shoulder into this and make sure and putting the effort in that you know you can. Do not hesitate. He who hesitates dies, and that is not how we do it. Your future is a reflection of your heart now. Make sure your heart's in the right place every single day, being better than the day before. Guys, that's about it for me. Thank you so much for everything you guys are doing out there. I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. You guys will be good to each other out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.